Yeah, I started at Commodore in 1982 as a director of purchasing. This was also a funny story, to be honest. At this time, I was working 9 years for Adressograph Multigraph, which was in Belgium a factory at this time, in Liège, I think, yes. And Adressograph Multigraph was a company, they manufactured copying machines. At this time also syncoxyd, you know, not plain paper like today, and with chemical and all the things. And then they have also offset machines available. So I worked for this company 9 years, and I always thought computers, in the 1980s, computers were starting, Apple was starting, IBM was very famous, huh? And even the big machines, right? So my wish was, my dream was to start with a computer company, and Commodore was, I think, the best for this time, for me. So I tried to look in the newspaper. There was no internet at this time. I tried in the newspaper to find some advertisement, and really I was successful. I found an advertisement from a headhunter. Looks like Commodore. He has not disclosed that this was the Commodore. But I make an application, and then I was very happy because I get a response. And he said, okay, we would like to interview, come in this and this hotel. And then I came there, and we have an interview. I was very, very happy coming out because they grilled me like a, barbecued me like a hell. And I think the job was tailor-made for me, and I was really sure that I get this job. Okay, then after 2 weeks, I got a letter from this headhunter and said, sorry, we are very unpleased to tell you that you cannot get the job. Okay, then I get back to my company, to Adressograph Multigraph, and I was at this time the manager of the telephone equipment and let's say cars and all the things. So general administration. And there was a guy from Siemens, and I talked with him because we have to change our telephone device to another one, to a new one. And then we talked, and it was very close, to be honest. We have built up a good relationship, and then I told him, I said, yeah, you know, I worked already 9 years with Adressograph Multigraph. I would like to go to another company, and you know, I told him all my secrets. Then I said I was already looked after a job, and I had an interview, and you know, and this failed, and my dream was to go to Commodore. He said, what? Commodore? I said, yes. I said, do you know what? The general manager of Commodore, Mr. Speyer, was my trainee. I was teaching him how to lead the things and all the things. So I know him very well. He worked for Siemens. So I will call him and tell him you're a good guy and why he should not give you a chance. I said, oh, well, it's very nice, thank you very much, and so on. And really, after a week, I just sit on a terrace, started to drink a beer, and then I get a call in the evening, and I got on the telephone, and there was a Commodore on the telephone. A telephonist said, you are Petro Tichenko? I said, yeah, Petro Tichenko. Yeah, our managing director, Harald Speyer, would like to see you. I said, okay, when you would like to see? Yeah, you see, she said, we are in the computer industry, so you should rush up immediately. Oh, I said, okay. So I think, okay, I will come maybe in a half hour. Okay. Shower, dressing, gym, you know, all the things. I jumped in the car and went to Niederrad in Frankfurt. I'm really close to Frankfurt, not so far away. And then I come in the reception hall. What I can see, there was a lady which reported before to me when I was working for Adressograph Multigraph. She was the telephonist in Adressograph Multigraph. So I know her already. I said, yeah, go up. The 6th floor, they're waiting already for you. Okay, fine. take the lift, go up to the 6th floor. The whole group, there was a guy from the personal department, there was a controller, and then was, I think, 2 other guys as well, the sales guy and so on, and then Mr. Harald Speyer, the general manager of Commodore at this time. And they interviewed me again, and after, I would say, after 1 hour, they said, okay, you're hired. I said, oh yeah, okay, so we discussed, of course, the salary and all the things and terms. And then I said, yeah, I have a problem because I worked 9 years for Commodore, for Adressograph Multigraph, and I cannot start next month. I have a time of termination. In Germany, the laws are so, you know, you have a half-year termination when you're working so long time in the company. Yeah, he said, okay, fine, but try to get 1st of October to start with us. This was in July. And this was another big fight for me, and I told the Amiga, I told the Adressograph Multigraph people I have to go. My last day is end of September, I start 1st of October. They disagreed. And they said, okay, if you would like to do us trouble, you worked now 9 years, we go to the court. I said, okay, fine, we see us on the court. And then we saw in the court, and the judge was very nice. He said, I don't know, to the Adressograph Multigraph people. I said, why do you know, why do you don't leave it go, the young guy? You have not to pay him anything, give him a chance and get rid of him, okay. So this was the agreement with the judge, and I could start then 1st of October 1982 with the German company, right? So then, 4 years I was a director of purchasing for the German company. Then I took over the European part. I was in 4 years, always 4 years, easy for me, from 82 to 86, director German logistic, and then 86 to 90, I was a director of the international, of Europe only, and then from 90 onwards until the end was 1994 when they went bankruptcy. I reported them, I have run the European business. I have a warehouse in Rotterdam, was very nice, where all the containers come from Far East, and I have to allocate all the products. And then I reported directly to the president, to Mr. Mehdi Ali, until the end. So then, unfortunately, Commodore went bankruptcy. So you can read all this, of course, all this 4 years, 4 years, 4 years, all these 12 years in my book. And then in 1995, I lost my job, of course, because Commodore went bankruptcy. And then, of course, I was selfish. I fight it for my job. I would like to continue because I love Amiga. I love the Commodore. And then I said, the only thing is to find an investor to continue my job. And then I found ESCOM. The general manager of ESCOM, Manfred Schmidt, he was before a good Amiga Commodore dealer. I saved him one time the Christmas business, I remember, because this A64 was very difficult to get. We allocated this to the dealer by allocation. So if a dealer ordered at this time 5,000 units, you get only 1,000 maybe. And because we don't have so many C64 as the market is asking for. And this Manfred Schmidt, at this time, I saved him his Christmas business. I think I allocated him a little bit more than the average. And this he never forgot. And then he came back to me and said, Petro, I would like to invest into the bankruptcy Commodore. You know, I have ESCOM, the name Commodore for my PC business. And of course, Amiga is a very nice business. You know it better than me, so you should run the Amiga business. This was a good thing, a good offer. And before I worked, then he said, of course, you should go to New York. You should make up a due diligence with some lawyers there. And in between, if you have not only working for the Commodore Amiga deal, which I would like, you can run our PC line. So I was involved also in purchasing chipsets from Intel and hard disk drive and a casing to manufacture around about 20,000 PCs a month for the ESCOM company. And last not least, I would say after a half year, I was many times in New York, many times make the due diligence, know all the old people, of course, of Commodore. And then there was a court a date. And I never forget Manfred Schmidt, and there was also another lawyer, and myself. We went to the very famous Concorde. It's 3 hours to New York. It was also an experience for me, to be honest. And then we showed up at the court, and we bid. We was bidding 10 million US dollar for the intellectual property of Commodore Amiga. And the judge said yes, but suddenly in this judge, the Compaq stand up and said to the judge, okay, ESCOM was bidding 10 million, are we bidding 19 million? Then there was, of course, a pause. And then the judge said, no. He said, ESCOM was so nice, he was making a half-year due diligence, know all the details, and you will now start due diligence, and even if you bid 19 million, the deal is going to ESCOM. And so, ESCOM got the deal. And I got the president of Amiga, and Commodore name went to the ESCOM company. But I was very happy, of course, because I got the salary, everything was fine. I got a little bit more. I got some commission for all the deals, what I've done. So I was very happy. And I have, of course, my beloved Amiga and my beloved Commodore. And then, this was nice. Is this vodka? Water. Water. Thank you. So, but ESCOM went bankruptcy after. Now I have to tell you something before. My dream was to bring back the Amiga. The Amiga, I thought, how to do this? Can ramp up the factories? Not possible, because no money. So rich, ESCOM was not so rich. So I looked for a third-party company, which was Solitron, and my decision was to build the A4000, mostly for the US market, and the A1200 for European market, because the A1200 was very successful, and I still love the product. If I see this, the keyboard, everything is included in the keyboard. So I think it's the best computer anyway. A little bit slow, of course, for the time. But from the design on and then for the thinking, I think it's great. It's a great computer. So the A1200, I let manufactured as a Magic. I have this board, as an original Amiga Magic, complete with software at Solitron in France. And they manufactured around about 200,000 units. And I sold in whole Europe, mostly in Europe, around about, I would say, 100,000. 190,000. 190,000. Because 10,000 left when ESCOM went bankruptcy. But this was not the fault of Amiga, I tell you, because it was very successful. We have some ideas. We developed the Walker. And we thought, okay, the A1200, we will replace the A1200 with a new model, with a Walker. But ESCOM went bankruptcy. And do you know why? Because of the PC. There was at this time, the Intel computer, the Intel chip, the processor was a A50, P50 what it's called. And the next generation was P75. And Manfred Schmidt, the owner of ESCOM, he was convinced from the Intel people to buy the P50 and to get it out in the shops for a very cheap price, for a very good price, to beat the Vobis company, which was a competition at this time to ESCOM. And Vobis bought the P75, a little bit more expensive in the shops, but you know, the PC people would like to have the newest one, and so ESCOM failed. And they make a loss of 300 million Deutschmarks at this time and have to go into bankruptcy. And this was the end, of course, because Amiga was 100% daughter company from ESCOM, so we also went into bankruptcy. I have had at this time 52 people. On the other day, when the bankruptcy was announced, there was only 2 people. There was one bookkeeper, I remember, and myself. And then, of course, the people in the warehouse in Braunschweig, where in Braunschweig I have the warehouse. So the same thing happens after Commodore went bankruptcy. I lost my job. I found an investor, ESCOM. Now ESCOM went into bankruptcy. And I still have no job. And I love my Amiga. So what to do? I decided to fight about this, to found a new investor. And I have to tell you, when ESCOM went into bankruptcy, there was a meeting of all general managers. Because ESCOM has a lot of subsidiaries, and in every subsidiary there was another general manager. And the bankruptcy, the liquidator, called to a meeting all these guys, me too. So I came to the ESCOM meeting room, and Mr. Hembach, that was a bankruptcy guy from the court, he stand up there. I couldn't believe this. He looked at me and he said, "Mr. Tichenko, you again here?" Because he knows me already, when he was the same liquidator as he liquidated Commodore. Hey, same name, same guy in front of. He said, "Petro, how you can do the second bankruptcy? I know you from Commodore." But he said, "Okay, 1 time is okay," he said. 2 times difficult. But the 3rd time, I don't like to see you. So I have a very good, to be honest, a very good relationship to this guy, to Mr. Hembach. Unfortunately, he died also. And I can tell you a lot of stories, which is, of course, described in my book here. Right? And then I have had an interview with him personally. And he said, "Okay." I said, "Mr. Hembach, please be so kind, don't liquidate my Amigas, my beloved Amigas. I have a dealer. It's not my fault that we go into bankruptcy because of this ESCOM PCs." He said, okay. "So what you're telling me?" I said, "Okay, Mr. Hembach, let me do my business. I promise you, in the first months of my taking over the Amiga as a usual business, I will generate you 1 million Deutschmarks." He said, "What? Is your Scientology computer?" He always said this is a Scientology computer, I don't know why. Okay, yeah, I don't believe this. I said, "Okay," he said, "but I will give you a chance. Next month you came, if you have 1 million on the bank account," he gave me an escrow account where I have to put all this money inside for my dealers. And I started to sell Amigas like a hell. And the people, of course, the market was still okay. You see, still okay, Amiga. And after 1 month, we generally have to pay also some invoices, because there was freight, there was some salary for the people, of course. And then some other people came and said, "Petro, you know, we know each other. I lost a lot through the bankruptcy court. Can you compensate me a little bit?" And all the things, okay. So I went to Mr. Hembach and showed him that I have 1 million, more than 1 million on account, and he has to sign some money transfers to the people, paying some invoices. But he don't look at this, you know. He said, "What? 1 million? Great." He signed all the things without checking nothing, no. And it was okay. So I generated every month more than 1 million for the bankruptcy court. And that was the area. After the ESCOM went into bankruptcy, Hembach was the bankruptcy the guy who ran the bankruptcy, who was responsible for this. And then I found, of course, Gateway. I found Gateway, and then I called Mr. Hembach and said, Mr. Hembach, I have an investor. He said, how much they will pay? I said, 14 million. This was really true. He said, okay, great, I come, we'll make the deal. Then he was out, and I was in again, and I could continue my business. So I can continue Amiga and my beloved Amiga, another 5 years under Gateway. Unfortunately, Gateway has not brought anything new into the market. I thought how to keep it alive. And then I make some stickers with Amiga, some socks, some panties also with Amiga balls and all the things. I went to fairs and keep the idea Amiga and keep the company alive. And then, I told you this before, I got the call from Gateway. They are no longer interested to run the Amiga. They're looking after a new investor, the same starts again. I was not successful in getting the Amiga deal. Bill McEwen getting this. And then after 1.5 years, I said, okay, fine. This was 2001 in April. I said, goodbye, Amiga. So that's my story. Of course, there are a lot of things here inside my book. You should, if you can read a little bit, you will find stories when I was traveling with Mr. Mehdi Ali. Many people said Mr. Mehdi Ali was not good. I tell you, Mr. Mehdi Ali was a good finance guy. I learned a lot of things from his side. And he also supported me a lot of things. So I told you a lot of stories when I picked him up. Many times I have to pick him up from the Frankfurt airport. We have meetings in Frankfurt. We invited all the general managers. It was 11 general managers around Europe. In Belgium we have also one guy who came, and they was interviewed about the forecast and how much they can sell and so on. I was always attending these meetings with Mehdi Ali, because many people, many salespeople said, yeah, we could manage more money, but we have no products. Petro has not shipped us the products in right time. This was the excuse. Therefore, he always take me. So we built up also very good relationship, Mehdi Ali and myself. And then one time, it was in Milano, it's also in my book here, we have a meeting, was a general manager meeting. Then he told me, it was on the toilet, I never forget this. He stand beside me and said, Petro, you have to go into the church next week. I said, why? He said, yeah, because we went into bankruptcy. I said, I cannot believe. This was how I heard from him, from his mouth, that Commodore and Amiga went into bankruptcy. Tja, ladies and gentlemen, there's some ladies also here. Okay. If you have any question, right, ask me. I thought I brought over a little bit of the story from 1982 until 2001. And I told you already, I don't know if I told you this, but 2001 I left the company. I don't like to have anything with Amiga. And after 10 years, a guy from India, my distributor, called me and offered me the A1200, which you can see here. So then I got 60 units, and in 3-4 days I sold all the 60 units to the community. And so I come back to the community after 10 years in 2011, and now we have 2014. I sold around about 1,000 Amiga Magic Packs to the community, and I'm very happy to have this. I told you already, I make no profit, but I think it's a good thing. And I also issued this book to give them an idea to the community where I went through. There's also mentioned one court case, because I've not mentioned this, but this is in the book. As general manager, you have a personal obligation, a personal responsibility. And after the bankruptcy of Commodore, I was also in a high position as a general manager, as a director. They sued all the bankruptcy, I think only for 10 million or whatever. I remember we had meetings together. It was really hard time, 14 years fighting. On the end, we always get free. But this is also, the details is also listed in my book. So this was some pain what I have also go through. Not so many people know this, what happens after the bankruptcy. Okay, I think that's all what I can tell you today. If you have any question, please ask me. Right? Yes.
If you, with all you know now, if you could change something in history, what would you change?
What I would change? You know, on the development of, there was an AA3 triple, the AAA, and what they have designed, it was, you know, there was always two things. One was the money, the finance situation, and one was the development, the developer. Like Dave Haney and all these guys which are working at Amiga were very bright people, and the other thing was to finance all the things. Sometimes there was done the wrong decision. I agree with this. What I would like to, at this time I have no influence on this. When I have influence on this, this was when I will be independent of everybody. Independent of ESCO anyway, but independent of the gateway. When I got the deal for $1 US, I would make an open source. This was what was my dream. To have an open source for the Amiga with so many bright people who can develop things on this. So this I would like to change. On the days of the Commodore, when I'm thinking, I was very busy always. Look, I have my idea was always when I'm working for Commodore to cut the cost. So I was working on this. There was a lot of products, as you know, and in all the products, which was the main part in the world, the biggest part in the world was Europe anyway. But the products come, including was only English manuals. So we have a disaster. We have to open all the boxes. We have to translate all the manuals in the Belgium, in the Netherlands, in the English language, in the Italian language, in the French language, the American, they don't understand. So we wasted a lot of money on this. I tried when I was in logistics to change this. I fought it with the management in the US, with the factory people, to give every country the same, the national languages, which would save us a lot of. Then my other, which I found a centralized warehouse, because before was all the goods coming to every warehouse, to Italy, to Belgium, to France, to Germany. So I have set up in the Netherlands, in Rotterdam, a big centralized warehouse where all the shipments come, and then from this warehouse I have done the allocation to the different countries. So this was one. So I was very busy with all the things, saving the cost, making the centralized warehouse. So I have no influence, to be honest, to the production or to the developing of the products. Okay. Another question here?
About Amiga was 3.5 and 3.9.
Yes.
I always thought 3.9 was more
No.
your work.
No. The last thing I have the operating system, the box here with me, was 3.5. This was one of my projects also when I was the president of Amiga. I fought it with the US people, and I said we have a 3.1, and I have a very brilliant company which was Hagen Partner in Germany. They would like to make this 3.5 the next generation. Please give me the authority to make this. It was a big fight with them also. There was a fight with Jim Collins, but on the last time, Jim Collins was a very bright guy, by the way. So he said, okay, Petro, go. He gave me the green light. I was dependent, of course, of the mother company, right? And then I make with Hagen Partner the 3.5. This was a last. We introduced this 3.5 in Australia, in Canberra. It was a very nice party. I remember. 3.5 was done. And after 3.5, I think this was in the year 1999, I think, because I said I retired in 2001, as I told you, in April. So this was my last work, to be honest, to have the 3.5. The 3.9 was then designed by the new investor. This was Bill McEwen and Fleecy Moss and all these people, right? I was not involved in this. Okay?
Regarding this $1 deal, when the other guy got the ownership, then he owned the Amiga brand, but he was focusing more on mobile
This
apps.
I don't understand. What do you mean exactly?
This guy, Bill McEwen.
Bill McEwen, yeah.
What did he do with the Amiga brand?
Okay. I think the deal was with this was my deal also. When I would be successful with the $1 story I told you. Gateway would like to take the intellectual property. They would only give us the sales authority. So, and I think for the 3 million, what Bill McEwen got from he got a loan from somebody, and I think it's the same. So he's not the rights, you get not the trademarks, you get not the copyrights, nothing. Only to write to sell it. I think this was the deal. Because maybe Gateway still have the rights, but I don't know because it's of course of the bankruptcy, not interesting. Gateway was also a very big company, right? I tell you, when I was running under Gateway, nobody knows what I'm doing. Suddenly, I have 10 million Deutschmarks on account. The bank called me over and said, Petro, Mr. Jacob, you have so many money on the market. You'd like to invest something? I said, oh, my mother company. Then I phoned days and days, hours and hours with the US. I said, look, I have $10 million on my account. Nobody knows what is Amiga, what they're doing, you know, big company, you understand? So then suddenly somebody said, okay, we transfer this money to this and this account. They were happy, right? So this was under Gateway. Yeah. Is your question answered?
No.
Okay. Somebody else have some question here? Okay. I think, I hope you enjoyed my speech here. Coming from my heart, I really appreciate. And I say thank you to you for your patience to listen to me. And thank you again for the organizer, Simon.
Thank you.
And Moody, right? Right, thank you. And I got also a nice present from the organizer here. So I can only thank you very much for everything. And try to enjoy. Keep our Amiga alive.
Yeah.